Welcome to Updoot Tales Entitled Parents, where somebody tries to get someone's grandson kicked out of their father's place and set a bad example all at once. Our first story is from Anonymous, and before we get to this story, I'm just going to point out that unlike what Martha may lead you to believe in the story, you cannot catch autism just by coming in contact with people. A while ago was the birthday of one of my husband's friends, RR, and he invited several people, including me and my husband. One of those friends was Martha, not her real name, and she came to the dinner with her husband and twin daughters, a little bit over 18 months maybe. Dinner went alright, and no problem until then, other than the girls running around the restaurant and neither Martha or her husband reining them in. RR and my husband love playing video games and used to play Dota a couple of years ago with several other friends, so the conversation switched to video games and they asking when they can all agree on a date to play. Now, several of them already have children, so it's harder for them to play these days. No, they didn't bring their kids to the dinner. Now, not even in the conversation, Martha butts in, RR, are you still playing video games? Only children, criminals, and autistic people play those things. Now, I have diagnosed Asperger's, a form of autism. Hey, I take offense to that. I'm autistic. Functional, but I have problems distinguishing when people are joking and sometimes can't read the mood of the room, I said in a light manner. Martha looked like I had slapped her. She said something along the lines of why I wasn't allowed there and that I was under no circumstance to touch or come close to her daughters or they will catch my disease. RR is non-confrontational and only told her to please don't make a scene in the restaurant, while her husband seemed to be ashamed of her and was telling her to be nice, that the girls won't get sick, so she should calm down. However, she picked up her girls and left the restaurant, only to come back about 20 minutes later without the girls. Apparently, she left them with her mother saying that people were sick at RR's party. It was very uncomfortable afterwards, since she kept glaring daggers at me, like I was some kind of typhoid Mary or serial killer or whatnot, but a couple of friends offered to change seats with us just to make some distance from her. Luckily, once 10 p.m. hit, she and her husband left, and the rest of the night, or rather just until 12, went a little bit better. RR apologized and said he had no idea Martha was like that, but that he would try to make sure nothing like this happened again. Sorry if it's not really entitled parents, but really didn't know where to post this and just wanted to get it off my chest. Wow, what is the deal with this woman thinking that you can catch autism by contact? Our next story is by TB1. Characters: Entitled Mom, Entitled Brats, OP, Grandfather. Some backstory. In the summer of 2016, I was going to see my grandfather in Louisiana for a couple of days with my mom, not the entitled mom. So we get to my grandfather's place to find it a complete mess. The rooms were not cleaned and one room smelled like weed. My grandfather is disabled, so we tried our best to clean up the rooms. Entitled mother had 4 kids, entitled brats 1, 2, 3, and 4. Entitled mother stole a car from my grandfather and was doing drugs at his house without him knowing. On to the main story. Fast forward a few years and entitled mother is let back into his house with her entitled brats. I'm just moving in and the first thing entitled mother tells me is an obvious lie, that my disabled grandfather was trying to force her to have relations with him. I knew what she was doing and played it like I felt sorry. A few weeks pass and stuff starts coming up missing, very expensive knives and easily pawned off items like guns and scopes. I catch her high as a kite one night and tell my grandfather the next morning. She did not like this. She started screaming at me and cursing at me. The only thing I was doing was looking out for my grandfather. When I got tired of the screaming, I just said, when you start raising your kids and stop doing drugs, then you can demand respect. I can't believe that you're doing drugs and stealing in front of 4 minors. She went ballistic. Entitled Mother shot back with, Stop talking to me like that. You will respect me and my privacy. It's none of your grandfather's business what I do. Her twin boys, entitled brats, started stealing from me all the time. Mostly my PS4 controller and charger box. I eventually moved all of my stuff into my grandfather's room and set up all of my games in his spacious bathroom. When Entitled Mother and one of the entitled brats, her youngest daughter, get home, they realize what I did. Entitled Mother knows she isn't allowed in my grandfather's room at all. I hear, Where are you going? And Entitled Mother accused me of stealing what was supposed to be her DVD player when I moved my stuff out. She was always using my stuff without permission and trying to break my anime figures because she doesn't like anime and it shouldn't be allowed in this house. I always told her that it's my personal property and you have no rights to touch my stuff, even use my hard-earned batteries for her adult pleasure stick. After that, she started making up lies about me, trying to get me kicked out of my own grandfather's house. He eventually had enough and got her evicted, taking everything her and her entitled brats could put their hands on, even stealing a dog named Teddy that wasn't even bought for them. Her excuse was, He has claimed me as his mother and I will raise him. That was the end of Entitled Mother and her stay. P.S. If anyone has seen Teddy in the Luling, Louisiana area, please PM me. He is a miniature Australian Shepherd with one blue eye and one green eye. I gotta say, if somebody were to take my dog, there wouldn't be too many things I wouldn't do to save him. Our next story is by Listen to the Music. So, I've always thought that maybe I'm actually the problem and my parents aren't as bad as I think, until I posted on here and people sided with me. My older sister is 19 and a sophomore in college. She had a rocky freshman year. The first semester, she had to withdraw from a class because she had been procrastinating and the class was harder than she thought. Second semester, she failed a class because she refused to go because she couldn't sit for that long. My sister has autism and ADHD. She told no one what was happening until she actually failed. At home, where Entitled Mother homeschools her children, they would refuse to do their homework. They would rather be playing. She didn't have to teach me. I do some online high school courses and dual enrolled at our local college. Entitled Mother hatched a plan, and honestly a good move on her part. She had Entitled Dad create a reward system for my older sister, while she made one for my entitled brother and entitled sister. Entitled Dad refused to tell us exactly how the system works so we can't exploit it, or something. He says he might tell us after we graduate. Basically, you get more money for good grades and actually get money taken away from total for Fs. My siblings were giving weekly prizes if they did their school with minimum tantrums. Entitled brother got Pokemon cards and entitled sisters got papers saying she had whatever amount on the paper to use towards a little trinket-type toy she was obsessed with. The system has since stopped working, but it did it for a while. The problem is that Entitled Mother and Entitled Dad decided to only apply this new parenting technique to the problem children. I was doing everything right and was getting nothing. I am not a perfect child. As I grow older, I get more and more defiant. However, I try to get my school done and manage to keep straight A's most of the time. When I am happy about acing a math test, Entitled Mother simply nods like I had gotten an okay grade. When I got a C on my chemistry test, Entitled Mother freaked out and said I needed a tutor because I obviously didn't understand any of the material. I wasn't getting rewarded for any of my grades, while all my siblings were earning prizes or actual money. I was getting more and more discouraged and frustrated until I finally brought it up to Entitled Mother. How's the reward system going? Entitled Mother. They are doing their work and the tantrums stopped. It's working great. Me. Okay, but what about me? Entitled Mother. What do you mean? Me. I do all my school and I don't complain and I don't get rewarded. Entitled Mother. But you behave. She huffed along her merry way, talked to Entitled Dad. They are somehow confused as to why I would need reward when I did my school without it. Now I get slightly less than my sister, but I do get paid for having straight A's. You know, OP, getting a good education is much more valuable than money or the latest trinket. It's good that you're advancing yourself. Keep it up. That was Updoot Tales Entitled Parents, and if you have pets, make sure to give them a hug and be grateful that they're home with you tonight. And also, you should hit the arrow in the center of the screen to subscribe. And if you enjoyed my content, make sure to leave a thumbs up, as that lets me know that you like my content.